Hello and welcome again to another session of Nutrition for Injury Recovery. Today we're going to talk about meal planning for your recovery. When it comes to meal planning, it's important to think about buying and preparing the right food so you have access to healthy options. So today we're going to talk about strategies and guidelines to help you with meal planning. When planning for your injury recovery, it is important to plan smart grocery shopping with easy meal prep and easy portion control in mind. And then, thinking ahead to when your rehab sessions are, you plan the right meals accordingly. Let's think about some factors that affect your food intake. Do you have access to the right foods? Do you follow a grocery shopping list strategy and plan to buy the appropriate food groups? Do you have a budget in mind? How often would you need to shop? Do you plan meals ahead of time? Do you have specific recipes you like to cook? That's a huge factor. Schedule time to cook or prepare your meals. For example, you need to think about how many rehab sessions are you going to have the coming week? What's your work schedule like? What's your school schedule like? You need to build a meal pattern around that schedule. And finally, you need to follow a step-by-step manual to get proficient at meal planning. If you go through these steps, it's going to become second nature. But if you're not there yet, you want to think about creating those habits. Let's talk about ways you can achieve healthy meal planning. Step one is knowing your eating pattern. It's important to identify when you eat in order to maintain our energy balance. And also to not eat too much or too little, to not gain extreme amounts of weight or lose a lot of weight, because that will hinder your rehab and your recovery even more. It's also important to maximize nutrient intake if you want to hit the protein goal and fiber goal that we're talking about. And you need to make sure you eat the right amounts of food. So the when becomes very important. Choose patterns that work for you based on your schedule. Keep it simple. For example, 3 meals plus 1 snack or 3 meals plus 2 snacks. If you have low appetite, especially after your surgery or if you're taking medications and you might feel nauseous because of the side effects, then you have to consider eating smaller meals throughout the day. So just aim for a simple breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner. And give yourself a 2-hour window between those. For example, I'm going to eat breakfast between 7 and 9, lunch between 12 and 2. Then I'll eat a snack between lunch and dinner. Because snacks make sure you're not allowing 4 hours or more without eating. And because if you go long periods without eating, it will be difficult to maximize the nutrient intake. Okay, so that was step one, knowing the eating pattern. Step two is planning meals for the week. It'll be important to know your food groups. In the provided guideline, you'll see that the foods are separated into different food groups with recommended food items within the groups. Keep it simple. Start with staple meals that you can follow on a weekly basis. For example, 3 types of breakfast, 3 types of lunch, and then 3 to 4 types of dinners that you can repeat on a weekly basis. Same thing for snacks. Build your meal around protein first, then add fruit and a non-starch vegetable. Those are the components within your meals that are going to give you the most benefits for recovery. For protein, we're talking about leucine. What is leucine again? The amino acid responsible for protein synthesis, those found in animal and plant-based proteins. Then we consider other nutrients like the flavonoids. What are those again? The ones that really control inflammation, like fruits and non-starchy vegetables. And then you can add a starch or a grain to complete your meal. Here is a sample meal plan for a week with those staple meals. For breakfast, you could have an oatmeal bowl twice a week, a yogurt bowl, and eggs as well. For lunch, you could have chicken salad twice a week with a grain or a starchy option and a vegetable or fruit on the side. Then you can do a tuna salad and some leftovers from dinners. For dinners, you could have a pork loin twice a week, which is considered a lean protein, with a vegetable and a grain or a starch. Lentil soup twice a week, and a salmon once a week. Now, this could change, but you want to think about the staple meals first. Some staple snacks could include fruits, nuts, yogurt, and whey protein. Step 2 is all about breaking it down into simple meals that you can stick with. When it comes to meal planning, it's important to have some type of framework. And I like to use a simple method of one protein choice per meal, one grain or starch per meal, and one non starch or fruit per meal. A simple framework for a good snack includes a protein and a healthy fat choice with a fruit or raw vegetable. If you have a lack of appetite during the day, you still need to get those carbohydrates in to maintain the energy balance. So you would probably be snacking on something like pretzels or whole grain crackers. Step 3 is your recovery shopping strategy. Having essentials available is important, like high fiber starch and grains. You can shop based on the meals that you're going to make, or you can shop around food groups. Some people find it easier to shop around those essentials, like whole grain crackers, potatoes, and peas, and then they'll figure out the meal later. You'll want to buy some non starchy vegetables like snow peas, green leafy vegetables, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts, for example. You can buy a few of these for a week depending on your family size. And you'll also want quality proteins like lean pork, fish, chicken, soy products, maybe 3 or 4 of those, and then a few varieties of fruit for that week. You can either buy your groceries based on the meals that you're going to make, or buy groceries based on food groups and decide on those recipes later. Step 4, prepping and cooking, is the hardest part of all, trust me. You can have all the right foods, you can have access to everything, but if you don't have time to cook, if you don't have time to prep, it really doesn't matter. So the prepping ahead of time is ideal. That's why I recommend staple meals that are easier to prepare than a complex recipe. For example, making a wrap with a side salad, preparing overnight oats, yogurt parfaits, and cooking some protein and roasted vegetables on a weekly basis. Those are staple meals. You have to plan one day in advance, at least prep lunch and snacks because you can probably make breakfast and dinner at home. And then build your meal around protein. Cook a starch or a grain after that, but make sure you have a protein available. And then, if you want to elevate flavor on any dish, you use aromatic veggies like garlic, onions, peppers, or dry spices. You could take the same food and prepare it with different spices, and with different flavors, it'll taste completely different, even though it's the same thing. So again, I would say using those steps will help you with prepping and cooking. Check your provided guidelines to help you with this as well. Step 5 is the essentials for quick meals. You can choose between a canned product, a whole grain product, or prepackaged box foods. You can create a meal without really spending a whole lot of time in the kitchen or while you're on the go. With canned foods, you break them down into proteins like chicken, lentils, beans, tuna, sardines, mackerel. Those are great options for protein when it comes to canned products. You can get canned fruits and veggies like kimchi, sauerkraut, Spanish prunes, pumpkin puree, low sodium soups. All of those are great. For the healthy fat options, you can get canned olives and you can add it to many recipes. Fruits and vegetables that are frozen are also very good, and they don't lose any of their nutritional value because they have been flash frozen, which means they retain all of those essential nutrients. So any frozen veggies are good, and those can be made into smoothies or throw a quick meal together. And then you've got the boxes, such as the whole grains, like the granolas, the whole grain crackers, the breads, the protein bars, fruit bars, and nut bars, for example. We're talking about nutrient-dense foods, not Pop-Tarts and candy. Fruits and veggies that are prepackaged, like cucumbers, tomatoes, snow peas, carrots, are great with some hummus and other healthy fats and proteins and fiber. Prepackaged foods such as nuts, seeds, yogurts are all great. So if you keep this in your cabinet or in your fridge, you can whip up a meal in no time. To summarize, focus on whole food, simple meals, staple meals that you can maintain throughout the week. 3 breakfasts, 3 lunches, 3 dinners, and then make sure you have a good plan. Think ahead, prep lunches and snacks at least, and have essential foods available to prepare a quick and easy meal in less than 30 minutes. For meal examples and shopping lists, take a look at your provided guidelines. Again, I'm Jimmy Capo Rodriguez, registered dietitian with UR Medicine Fitness Science. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you so much for participating and good luck with your injury recovery.